Yokoso, yokoso, yokoso. Welcome, 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 one and all. Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome, welcome to the Stadia Monday Night Chat, episode 65. I'm your host, of course, Clive Illenden, as we take a stroll down Stadia Strasse, the news week that is Stadia. Let's say hello to chat before we kick things off, just to see all the early birds there. Hello, Sue. Hello, Skull. Welcome, welcome, my friend. Hey, Aminar, how are you? Doubting we'll even reach 1 million active subscribers. Well done. Here's an early one for you, Aminar, because I know this is what you come for. Anyway, how are you there? Forcecast Gaming, how are you? Christopher Torres. Liam Wolock, lovely to see you, sir. Mr. Bayram Plays. Liam, we've done Liam there. Well, yeah, Dave, watching the football, of course. Yes, I put your little thing up there. It's gone to extra time. Please feel obliged to keep the chat informed of what's happening in extra time and all of that. Stelios, hello. Roger, hello. Yoshida, konbawa. Hello, hello, hello. Yokoso. Remember, everybody hit the likes before I forget. Hit the likes. And if you are new here, then of course, please subscribe. Toggle that notification bell so you know when I go live with content like that. Look, just like that. We've just had a sub. Perfect. Anyway, of course, let me know. It is indeed extraordinary from what I was sort of watching. I watched the second half just before I came on. It's pretty crazy. Monkey Boy, how are you, sir? Brian, Alex, Jakey, lovely to see you. Let me know, of course, what games you've been playing, of course, in the chat. We always like to see that. For me, Red Dead Redemption 2, I know I'm late to it. I've tried so hard to be a good person, yeah? But occasionally I've pulled out a gun thinking, I've pressed L2 to sort of chat with a stranger, but accidentally pulled out a gun, and then the stranger's panicked, and then I've accidentally shot them, and then the whole thing spirals out of control, and before you know it, there's a massacre on my hands, and it all goes Pete Tong. And I try and stop and help people and be really helpful, but occasionally it all just ends up in a massacre. I'm loving it. I could go on at length about how brilliantly the game creates a genuine real world atmosphere. I know I'm very late to the game, but man, it's unlike any other game I can think of in that world creating brilliance that it has. It's all those tiny details that adds up to kind of make it feel like a real world you're in. Anyway, loving it. Of course, we've got another great show, another packed show, of course, as is the norm, ladies and gentlemen. I do not mind repeating myself on this show, and I'll say it until it's not true. But especially since, people have become so blasé about it and take it all for granted, but Stadia is popping out that news and content every single week, whether it's new games, new features, free weekends, sales. There's something going on every single week with Stadia, but we've all become a bit blasé about it. Anyway, this has been an awesome week for Stadia, with finally the launch of the Stadia app for the Chromecast with Google TV and Google TV in general. And what an impact. I mean, I knew this was coming, and I knew the implications of what it meant, basically, Stadia arriving on smart TVs. But as I've said so many times on this show, it's not until something really happens that you really suddenly get that clarity on where Stadia is and where it wants to be. So before we get on with all the other news and all that, and take a look at the possible pro games, I did try and start a poll, but I'm not sure it's working. Never mind. But put in the chat any games you think might go pro, and we can look at them and discuss them later on, because obviously it's pro games probably going to get announced tomorrow, the July pro games. So we'll talk about that as well. And of course, we'll look forward to a massive game release this week, of course. But before all that, let's dive in to the big news of the week, which is the release of the Stadia app, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you didn't realize by now, this is what it's all about. Play Stadia on the devices you already own. Yeah. Well, those devices have just increased dramatically. I think Chrome Unbox put it best, and that's what we're going to have a look at here. So Chrome Unboxed put it best, I think, in this article, of which I've kind of cribbed the thumbnail, the clicky bait thumbnail for this particular video. But if we have a look at, see what they've said here, you'll see what I mean. So here we go. Google arrives on Google TV, expanding its reach to millions more, ladies and gentlemen, millions more. So this was so it was released on Wednesday, last Wednesday there. Google officially released its Stadia application for Google TV and Android TV devices, ladies and gentlemen. So here's some just little stats to put it in context, which I think is kind of really important. So we go here. More importantly, the app has been available on Chromecast. So this is saying it's released on the Google TV and Android TV devices, making it available to a potential 1.7 billion televisions worldwide. 1.7 billion. Thank you there, Mike D, for the subscription. Very much appreciated, sir. 1.7 billion televisions worldwide. Now, obviously, not 1.7 billion people are going to play it. It's not even available in all the countries. The TVs are available, but the potential is there. People go on about, PlayStation sold 150 million units. 150 million units. Xbox sold, 50 to 100 million Xboxes. Isn't that amazing? This is what they're talking about when they're talking about the next billion gamers. This is how you reach them, via mobile phones, of which there are billions, by TVs, smart TVs, which there are billions. And it's not just Stadia who talk about the next billion gamers. In the announcement today from xCloud, only a couple of hours ago here. So xCloud Gaming, I said I'll just touch on this very briefly. Now running on Xbox Series X, expanded to PC. So they're officially making the PC xCloud available on PC officially. So it's no longer sort of a, invite only or email sort of request only. So apparently it's available on PC now here, but it's just here. And they've said it, Xbox have said it a few times, trying to make games available to the 3 billion players around the world. This is not Stadia saying this. This is Xbox. Yeah. This is why Amazon are getting into cloud gaming. This is why Google is getting into cloud gaming. This is why Xbox absolutely is going all in on cloud gaming. Cloud gaming is already gearing up to be more important than selling Xbox Series X. Xbox Series X are like the showpiece of sort of showing off the games in their best potential. But they're not how most people are going to end up playing the games. Most people are going to end up playing those Xbox games on xCloud and things like that. And I think anybody saw Doc Dark do a YouTube video at the weekend, and he put it brilliantly. Highly recommend the video that he did. He put it brilliantly. If you don't believe in cloud gaming, just look at what Xbox is doing. Yeah. You have to listen to what Xbox is doing. They are investing heavily massively in cloud gaming. So thus we can establish that cloud gaming is really, really important. Yeah. And is going to be a big thing because one of the biggest gaming brands in the world is investing so much in it. Okay. So if you don't even believe Amazon, if you don't believe Stadia, just listen, believe Xbox. That's what they're doing. So that underlines the xCloud as that cloud gaming is a thing, right? The next thing is everything Xbox say they're going to do. Yeah, we'll bring out a smart app TV. Yeah, we'll make it available on PCs, what they have now. It'll be on, eventually we'll get up to 4K. It's interesting here that they're only offering it on PCs at 1080p, 60 frames per second. All the things that Xbox have promised they're going to do, Stadia already doing. Yeah. So Stadia are one step ahead in that regard in terms of the tech and stuff like that. So we've established that cloud gaming is actually a thing because the biggest gaming brand, one of the biggest gaming brands in the world, is all in on it. And two, we've established that Stadia is ahead of the game in terms of the tech. Just thought it's worth mentioning. But anyway, back to some facts and figures here. So here we are. Two things may seem trivial, bringing it to there are 80 million active Chromecast users worldwide, up from 50 million last year. 80 million active Chromecast users. We're just talking to one element of Stadia here. We're not talking about the PC bit. We're not talking about the phones. Just talking about one platform that it would potentially available. Nearly 121 million televisions in homes just in the United States alone. So it's talking about TVs, rather than smart TVs, but with the potential of becoming smart TVs. That said, while many people are still utilizing Google's Chromecast Ultra, the growth of the Chromecast with Google TV could likely be directly responsible for the additional 30 million active units. So they are estimating or making the assumption there are 30 million active units of the Chromecast with Google TV. That's not counting all the Google TVs that we know there, the TCLs, yeah, the LGs that are coming later with their own version. Hopefully we're seeing on the Sony TVs that run Google TV. All for 50 quid you can get this device. So just these numbers alone are absolutely massive. Yeah. Absolutely massive. So you've got to say, when people say, who on earth's got Stadia? Who's got Stadia? I mean, you see on Twitter, has anybody got Stadia? I mean, literally, you've got Stadia, you've got Stadia, you've got Stadia, and you've got Stadia. Yeah? It's now on 80 million devices, potentially. Well, at least 30 million. So now you're on all these devices, or potential you can reach all these people with your app. Yeah? So now the next stage is what? You've got to let people know. So time for that big... time for the big marketing push. Yeah. So Stadia basically emailed anyone who sort of bought a Chromecast with Google TV through their store. They basically emailed virtually everybody. I know it's not in every territory, but certainly in the UK, I believe in America as well, and parts of Europe, most people who bought a Chromecast for Google TV with Google TV from Google Store probably got an email going, oh, by the way, do you know your app can now play Stadia? You can play games through your Chromecast with Google TV. And by the way, here's a 50% discount to get that controller you wanted. Yeah? Boom. I'm in. Yeah? I've completed my controller collection now, thanks to the Just Black. You factor in my Google Store credit as well that I've built up. That cost me £13. Yeah? £13 to complete the collection. Bargain. Yeah. So it's such a significant impact. And we knew it would be a big impact. And we knew this is how you get to your billion gamers, through the phones and through smart TVs and stuff. But when you actually see it arrive and see it in action, it just, solidifies it, gives you clarity. Yeah. But who reads promo emails? Yeah, who, you get an email. Who reads those? Yeah. So the next big marketing push was this, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you. Oh, look. Didn't get a voucher. Oh, Paul. I'm not sure what countries it was in available. It was available in, but most of them. Let me know whether you did get one or not, because I certainly got one. But yeah, so I've got the Wasabi, clearly white, just black, and of course, Founders Edition. Anyway, so the next big marketing push is this, and this is where it really hits home, I think. This is where things are changing. Again, we go to Chrome Unboxed, and they're using a wonderful source here who's highly reliable. So, Google TV begins prominently advertising Stadia games on your home screen. Yeah? With the launch of Google Stadia on the Chromecast with Google TV and Android TV, millions of additional users can now consider their home televisions game consoles. You've got a game console, you've got a game console, you've got a game console, without having to purchase expensive gaming hardware. As I said in my overview update, so the article we referred to earlier, Google could leverage the 80 million users who now have a Chromecast media streaming dongle plugged into their TVs. Now, this is the crucial bit. Last night, Twitter user Clive Illenden discovered that Google had begun to advertise gaming. And look here, there's my television. But there, on your Chromecast, on your home screen, your Google TV home screen, in the top banner there we go. Destiny 2, new. Join millions of Guardians and write your legend. Play on Stadia. Just like you see, I don't know, Loki on Marvel. Play now. That's the thing about the Google TV that people don't, some people say, why should I get the Google TV instead of just the plain Chromecast Ultra? Well, it's a great device in itself, let alone Stadia, because it's an aggregator. It aggregates content. That's what makes it so good. You don't have to go into Netflix and then say, okay, Netflix, what do you recommend? Or go into Disney and go, okay, Disney Plus, what do you recommend? It recommends stuff based on what you've watched across all those things. Yeah, it aggregates entertainment content. And the next big entertainment thing for smart TVs is gaming. I was watching Sounds of Stadia, and they touched on the fact that the average person is more likely going to be aware of Destiny 2 than, say, Stadia. And that's probably realistic. Yeah. And secondly, the whole point of Google TV, as I said, is that it's an aggregator of content. This is what sets the Google TV hub apart. It's more than a device just to make a dumb TV a smart TV. It aggregates content into one easily searchable place. In this case, entertainment content. So you don't have to swap in and out of all your kind of apps. You just decide what you want to watch, and it will take you to where it is available, be it Disney Plus, be it Netflix, be it Amazon Prime, be it BBC iPlayer in the UK. It will make suggestions of content from all your main apps. This is the Google DNA, organizing the world's information so you can find stuff. This is what Google TV does. So I can see a time when there's a tab at the top here, he says, where you've got search for you, movies, shows, apps, library. I can see a time when there is a tab that says games, and it will suggest games from a range of gaming apps. Stadia, GeForce Now, which is already, on there. Hey, even xCloud, if they ever decided to catch up and finally release a smart TV app, then yes, xCloud. Let's have a quick look at 9 to 5 Google on how they looked at this. So they mention it here as well. Google TV begins suggesting Stadia games in the For You tab. Owners of the Chromecast with Google TV have begun to see recommendations for Stadia games on the For You tab, as spotted this afternoon by Clive Illington. Google's begun a significant push for Stadia owners of the Chromecast with Google TV. And there it is. It's on 9 to 5's TV in the recommendations. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, look, everyone. Yay, Mike D. Thank you for the super chat. Really, really appreciated. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Now, ladies and gentlemen, everyone has a different user case. I get that. There are many of you who watch this show that are PC gamers at heart. Fine. Some of you have all the consoles. Yeah. Some love the convenience of playing just on a mobile or swapping between devices. And they're all kind of great. And of course, traditional gaming ways, stuff like that. For me, I see a time where you sit in front of the TV. Jim! Thank you, Jem. Yeah, I'm getting out-named. I'm out-naming Jem in the 9 to 5. I'm after your job, Jem, yeah? But for me, like the way I see gaming going, especially cloud gaming, is a time where you sit in front of your TV. And this is what the launch of the Chromecast with Google TV and Stadia on the Google TV kind of made me kind of really realize. I see a time you sit in front of your TV with your Google TV open, just like we sort of see here. Yeah. You sit in front of it and you decide you want some entertainment. Yeah. You want some entertainment. That's what it's about now. Remember, the head of Netflix said they were competing with Fortnite. Yeah. Because it's about entertainment. It's not just about TV companies competing with TV companies. It's about entertainment and competing for your time, whether it's watching TV, watching films, playing games. So you're on your Google TV there. You want some entertainment, a show on Netflix, a film on Disney Plus, a game on Stadia. All your content needs right in front of you. Easy to find, easily accessible, no swapping between devices. Amazon Luna know this. Stadia know this. And Xbox know this. Why? Why do they know this is the sort of the future of gaming for many? For the probably the majority? Because that's how the majority of people consume linear content, film and TV right now. Yeah, we don't go to a TV channel per se. We'll go to a hub, an aggregator hub, like this, like the Google TV. And then we decide, okay, I've got all these subscriptions or all these things. What do I want to watch today? It doesn't matter where it is. What do I want to play today? It doesn't matter where it is. So if you are happy surrounded by boxes and consoles, or sitting up your PC and tweaking and modding and stuff, that's great. That's great. That's what gaming's all about. But ultimately, the heartland of these game companies is that user, or the target that they're going for is that user I'm describing, the next billion gamers. As I said earlier, as xCloud said, the next 3 billion gamers. So I was very excited to see Destiny 2 as a suggestion in that roll top there at the top of the Google TV homepage. So the app itself, let's talk about the app itself in general. So it's certainly, in my experience of the app, it certainly speeds through that interface super quick. It needs to be when you've got 100 games, 100 plus games, it's far more responsive. But I genuinely think the games run smoother. Now, whether that's it can render and decompress the video feed better, because of that. I know there's improved memory on the Chromecast with Google TV, or as I understand it. So whether it can sort of unpack the video stream quicker, uncompress it, and therefore process that video much quicker. But the games, and this is anecdotally, I have not measured it or anything, but they do seem to me, and let me know in the chat whether you kind of feel the same. They feel to me smoother and crisper, the image, the video image. But the games I played certainly seem to, as I say, have more crisp smoothness to them. But as I say, I stress, this is anecdotal. Cloud Gaming is now, Chromecast with Google TV is now our entertainment hub. That's exactly how I use it. I don't switch on the TV with my old remote. My old remote is in the drawer. I use the lovely, beautiful little Chromecast remote, turn on the TV, takes me straight to that hub, and then I decide, because I don't get good reception on the TV anyway, I watch everything through on demand or streamed, and now I can play Stadia through it. I can, so I use it as a hub. It's so good. As soon as I got it, it was so good. It becomes my main way of accessing the television. Even though I got a smart TV, I no longer use the smart TV's built-in smart apps. It's just because it's so easy having everything aggregated and content presented to you in that way. But in terms of the Stadia app itself, look, Look, I know some people were expecting to see a completely overhauled user interface, yeah? I have to admit, I think that expectation was somewhat misplaced. It's only yourself to blame if you really thought that. Some reactions were a bit, Google says to consumers, here's a moon on a stick. Stadia community members, oh God, my stick's not shiny. That's rubbish. Google, huh? We just gave you a moon on a stick. Yeah, but it's not a shiny stick. Anyway, my stick's not shiny. Quote me on that. Just saying, ladies and gentlemen, just saying. The most important thing is to get the app working well on potentially 80 million devices. Job done. Now you get your feedback, collect your data, evolve and develop the app. That's the Google way. Can be frustrating, but look at, the Google Home Assistant, the way that's evolved over time. Gmail, Android even, constantly evolving and updates, Pixels. Yeah? I'm sure we'll see changes, but you have to bear in mind they can't just change it for the Chromecast, the Google TV device. Yeah? The changes have to be able to function on as many devices that use Google TV as possible. It has to work universally. So, a store would be good. Of course it would. A grid-like layout for all the games, yeah? Or better, a search thing would be brilliant. And I expect to see design changes over the years. That's the thing they can kind of do over the year. Not take their time, but, evolve it. In terms of buying games, though, only this weekend... my daughter, just for those, my daughter was, I don't know, I'm doing that. She's my daughter. My daughter was playing Just Dance and she wanted me to subscribe. So she had Just Dance on, she was playing it and then she wanted to dance to some track. Got to Kill This Love by Blackpink. Wolock! Well, thank you for the super chat. Whoop, whoop. Yes, my daughter was playing Just Dance on my account and she said, I want to subscribe to the Just Dance. So she's in Just Dance on Stadia on the TV. I say, no problem. I pick up my phone because you can't do it through the TV. I pick up my phone, go to the Stadia store, go to Just Dance subscribe button, hit it, pay for it, put my phone back in the pocket, come straight up on in the game. Oh, you subscribed. And off she goes, dancing to Kill the Love by Blackpink. I also posted a video on how you can request a game from the Google homepage as well. Now, I know you can already launch games using G Home. I'm not going to say it was, I'll trigger all your Google G Home. Where is it here? So back to Chrome Unboxed article here. Here, look. So they're quoting some fine, reliable source here. What's really cool is you can boot directly into any game on Stadia just by asking Google Assistant to play it, as Clive has done. But yeah, as Clive has done down below. So if we click on that, not that one. There we go. So, yeah, so this is a video I posted on Twitter, and you basically ask, I use the remote, although I said OK G. You don't have to do that with the remote, but it's out of habit. I just said play Destiny 2 on Stadia. It went straight into the game. Select my account. Connect the controller. Although nowadays I just have to turn the controller on and it connects automatically once Stadia app is up, and you're off. You're straight into the game as well. You don't have to start the game. You go straight into the game. So that's really cool, a really cool feature. So there we go. So very exciting times. And I expect the app to be, updated over time, but you've got to bear in mind it's got to work on Google TV generally. So it's got to work on all the sort of smart TVs from probably about 2020 onwards to really function, and it ought to have maximum impact, basically. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Exciting times. Let me know. Yeah. I like to throw some shapes now and then, Mr. Bayron plays. Yeah, like to throw some shapes now and then. Anyway, let's have a quick look at some other news, ladies and gentlemen. So Borderlands 3 free weekend. Let me know if you took part in the Borderlands 3 free weekend and cross-play and promotion. This was great because it was promoted by the Borderlands team. I've got a million tabs open. Let's just get rid of some of these. Bear with me. Yeah. So I thought this was really cool because this here was promoted by YouTube Gaming. Yeah, so it's not, although Stadia were absolutely hammering it and promoting the free weekend play of Borderlands 3, and of course it was timed to coincide with the release of crossplay on Borderlands 3. What a perfect time to show off Borderlands 3 on Stadia. Some people are telling me it's improved in its performance. Again, that's anecdotal. I don't know for sure. But it also uses crowd play. So they had some major streamers on the Borderlands channel itself playing multiplayer Borderlands 3 on Stadia with crowd play. And this is promoted by YouTube Gaming, which is absolutely great to see. And equally, it was also promoted by the Borderlands 3 Twitter account as well. As I said, like I said earlier about Destiny 2, there are many games that are better known than Stadia. So what better way to promote Stadia than by promoting the games that are on the device on Stadia, and then showing how easy it is to either jump in and play or play a AAA game without the need of a console, than by using a big name game to entice people in. So it's a great way to get people engaged. And then they realize, what you're playing, or that they can try out Borderlands 3 for just sort of signing up for Stadia Pro for a month or whatever free. Just give it a go. It's win-win. Yeah. And as I say, this is YouTube Gaming promoting this event. This is not Stadia. This is a specific YouTube Gaming promo. So you're getting that cross-fertilization there. That's really great to see. YouTube Gaming, promoting Stadia, promoting, Borderlands 3. And as I say, I think this event was meant to happen a few months ago, because we did have a Borderlands 3. I'm sure it was this, or was it Marvel Avengers? Remind me, I should have looked it up. I apologize. Wasn't there an event, a streaming event? I think it was Borderlands 3, and then it didn't happen. So I'm thinking this is that. And what better time for it to happen than when Borderlands 3 itself, Take-Two, are launching Borderlands 3 with crossplay. Brilliant. But just to say, great to see YouTube Gaming promoting it, Borderlands 3, aka Take-Two, promoting it, and of course Stadia absolutely hammering it on the social medias this weekend, in the last few weeks, to be honest. It's been a big difference in the Stadia social media activity, but it's great to see. In other exciting news, ladies and gentlemen, there. So we have this wonderful thing. Not that. Don't advertise an Xbox game. So Ubisoft were out in force, talking about Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. And this was a great video. So this came out on the 24th of June. So 4 days ago. More footage from the Avatar game, which is due out, we know, next year. But also a talk from the technical directors at Ubisoft about the Snowdrop engine, which is what is obviously powering it, and how they've rebuilt the Snowdrop engine specifically for next gen. Now, I'm using next gen. I mean, in fairness, it's current generation of technology, isn't it? I mean, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, they're current gen. But I'm going to use the language they use, next gen. Because it's coming out in 2022, there's no need to make it for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One. Yeah, so they're rebuilding the Snowdrop engine, which we know is a great engine on Stadia. Works really well. The games on Snowdrop work really well. They're rebuilding it from the ground up in order to kind of create this amazing open world Avatar experience. So I think that's really exciting. And this Twitter itself, this video, YouTube video, was promoted by the Stadia social media people. So, man, as I say, they've been on fire recently. But it's looking fantastic. It's looking great. But it's just interesting that they're rebuilding the Snowdrop engine to have added features and be ready for total kind of next gen. Really, really kind of exciting. Yeah, Amnar's sad because, yeah, there's no crossplay on those Sport PlayStation people. Boo! Boo! But yeah, I highly recommend you check out this video they talk about, and they show some great footage. And presumably a lot of this is in-game stuff demonstrating probably just an area of the world, or one section of the world, just demonstrating what they can achieve with Snowdrop now, let alone what's going to look like in a year or so's time, 18 months' time. And also, I think this is the same team, ladies and gentlemen. It's worth bearing in mind. This is the same team, I think, that are working on the new open world Star Wars game for Ubisoft for 2023. Dare I say it? Hello, Stadia. Yeah? There's some comfort knowing that it's in in Ubisoft's hand, the next Star Wars movie. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Very exciting about that. You know, it looks absolutely great. And it's just great that, as I say, they're working on revitalizing the engine for sort of next gen technology, which is kind of really exciting. Mike Rolfe says there, call them out for things they could do better, but saying stuff like no games, it's going to go on for 200. Of course there is. It's going to be a ton of games. Plenty of games. Anybody new, that's the point. Anybody new coming to Stadia, like if you fire up Stadia, oh, what's this Stadia? You get that promo email, or you see that banner on top of your Google TV hub, interface, and you go and play Destiny, and then you say, oh, I wonder what other games they've got. And you go to the store on your phone and you check and you see there's like 180 games. So anybody new, as I've always said, when they roll it out to other countries or anybody new coming to Stadia, it's a pretty complete offering. I've said it before, but it's just getting more complete all the time. Of course, don't forget this this week, in fact, Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, Wednesday sees the launch of a massive game. Yeah, another AAA game, ladies and gentlemen. Another AAA game. Can you believe it? Another AAA game coming day and date. Of course it is. Rainbow Six Extraction releases this Wednesday. Yeah, so should be, those of you that have Ubisoft Plus, should be an Ubisoft Plus title. So looking forward to that. So let me know whether you're going to get it or you're going to be playing it on Ubisoft Plus, on all of that. Again, there we go. That's Stadia trailer, ladies and gentlemen. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? So remember, that's coming out on the 29th, coming out on Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Looking forward to that. The other thing as well, talking of Ubisoft, Riders Republic, ladies and gentlemen. Riders Republic is in the store for pre-order. Yeah, Riders Republic bundle, 60 quid, Gold Edition 85 quid, Ultimate Edition 90 quid, and of course, it will be available on Ubisoft Plus. But it's good to see the pre-order in the store already. It's good to see that we're starting to see these sort of pre-orders happen more and more, and they get ahead of the game and stuff. I think that's always very kind of encouraging. But let me know, again, let me know. What's this? I'm just going over here. What's this? Nah, Siege is coming, not Extraction. What? What are you talking there about, Barclay? Extraction is coming on Wednesday, isn't it? Is it Rainbow Six Siege? Am I getting them muddled up? Am I getting it muddled up? Let's have a look. I thought it was... Let's have a quick look. Yeah, you're right. Rainbow Six Siege. I apologise. You're quite right. Well spotted, sir. Rainbow Six Siege, June the 30th. So Wednesday. It is. You're right. Well spotted there, Barclay. Correct. Barclay on Stadia. Rainbow Six Siege, massive game anyway, so still applies. Massive game launching on Wednesday and available on Ubisoft Plus. So let me know you're going to be diving into that game. I certainly am. Controller against keyboard and mouse. I don't care. I'll take it on. I'll take anyone on, man. Yeah. You might have keyboard and mouse, but are you any good? Is the question. Yeah. Also, we also had announcement of more game here. Of course, Grime, ladies and gentlemen. That's not Grime, that's T. Now, I don't know about this video trailer, but it looks even more enhanced than the previous one. Anyway, so we've got a release date for Grime. This is one of the things that came out of the Stadia Makers program. It's going to be released on Steam and on Stadia. And that's on the 2nd of August. Yeah, 2nd of August it's coming out. It looks a lovely game. I've talked about it before, an interesting game. But we've got a launch date for it. 2nd of August, ladies and gentlemen. Grime officially comes out. Right, there we are. That's Grime, ladies and gentlemen, on the 2nd of August. Again, let me know whether you're going to get Grime, whether it's sort of game that intrigues you, that kind of 2D, sort of fake 3D scrolling aspects. Right. France out, Dave. Is that hot off? Oh, my God. Is that official? Oh, everybody's coming in there. What happened then? Did Switzerland get, well, presumably Switzerland got another goal then? Or does it go to penalties? Mbappe missed. Was it penalties? Wow. Siege with crossplay. Sorry, we got distracted by the football there. Apologies. Right, pro games. Now, I did do a poll, but unfortunately, it didn't really kind of work out. What I put in there, I'll show you this, and then you could see. Yeah, so put in here, I put in Ark Survival, Dirt 5, Control, Death Carnival. It came and ate our brains. Let me go back. And let's see if we can. Let me close the poll. Closed it there. Okay. Put it in the chat anyway, ladies and gentlemen. Ubisoft still not available in Sweden. Roger, that's a crying shame. When's it going to come there? I wonder what's up with that. That's what we say. What is up with that? Right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a look at chat. But okay, now's a chance. Extraction is September. Thank you there. I got my rainbows muddled up. Easily done, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Barclay. Thank you, Mr. Bayram there as well for correcting me on that. But anyway, so tomorrow, more than likely, Stadia Pro games get announced. So what do we think? What do we think? Dave says Control. I put Control there. So just so you know, if I just see if I can refresh this page and I'll show you. See if we can run it again. Open poll. Right. So I put here, if I just go here and you can vote. See if you can vote. It says time left none. Close poll. Let's go back. I want to start it again. Oh, well. The poll's not working. So just, you can no longer vote on the poll. Exactly. So Dark Side Detective we have there from a poll from Mr. Bayram there. I've got Ark Survival. You got to put that, haven't you? That's just like you keep that, just recurring, surely. They've got until the end of August. Yeah, so we're at July, so it could be August. So we're increasing the chances of seeing Ark Survival. Dirt 5. Yeah, we got Formula 1, didn't we? And that wasn't long after the launch of Formula 1, so I'm going big. Hey, 1030 Media Group, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Lovely to see you, people. Yeah, so Ark Survival, Dirt 5, Control, Death Carnival. It came from outer space, so I'm expecting a Death Carnival drop. It came from outer space and ate our brains because I just wanted a kind of random indie game in there. Destroy All Humans is a good shout there, Mike. I like that. Or none of the above. None of the above. So let me, let me know in chat what you think. Ark must be a July Pro game. Surely. They said the end of summer, so it could be August, But you never know. You never know. Monster World, that would be something extraordinary. That's a sort of a wide shout there, isn't it? You never know. I don't see it. Destroy All Humans or Cake Bash? The Mystery of Mafia. I think Mafia is swimming with the fishes. I think on the basis we get sort of one biggish one, it could be Control, could be Ark, could be Mafia. So those are the sort of the big ones. Maybe Dirt 5. Maybe it's too early for Dirt 5. Hello Engineer. That was meant to be a pro game, wasn't it? But it's weird that they're doing the paid beta. Yes. Sean Wolock there with the Peppy Pig. You mean Peppa Pig? I like Peppy Pig. Peppy Pig's the sort of posh college, US college boy, is he? Was that Preppy Pig? Peppa Pig and Paw Patrol, yes. Somebody suggested me a good idea if they had a children's channel on the Stadia thing. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Because there's that company that's doing all those games. Peppa Pig, Paw Patrol, all the other ones. Barclay on Stadia is going Control. I think Control seems a popular shout because it is available. It was available on Luna in the US. It was available as part of Games Pass, wasn't it? They're just giving it away. So why not make it available as part of Stadia? Good shout. Hello, Scott. Is that sarcasm, or are you genuinely feeling sorry for France? It's hard. It's hard for me to feel sorry for France. Jet Set Willy. Perfect. Yeah. ZX Spectrum old arcade section of Stadia. Yeah. Play all those Commodore 64 and ZX Spectrum games. Oh, yeah, that's right. Control was available on Nintendo as a cloud version. So, yeah, it's on every platform. So it's no surprise it's coming to Stadia. I think that's a good shout. The trilogy. Imagine if they dropped the whole trilogy, the complete collection. That would be unprecedented. Like I could see them going, okay, we'll drop 1, or we'll drop Mafia 3 or 2, and then so to encourage you to buy the others. But imagine dropping the complete collection. Whatever happened? Whatever happened to Mafia? Stadia Kids Unleashed. Yeah. Roger wants, I want Unto the End. Let me close this down a minute. Why don't we open the store? Let's we're going to go to the store. Well, I reckon if a publisher came out with, like, I don't think it's down to Stadia to do it necessarily, but if a developer or publisher came up with like an emulator collection, so for instance, I tell you what would be really cool. Sega do a Sega collection. All those old arcade games from the 80s and 90s in one collection. And we know they have a good relationship with Sega, so that could be it. Let's have a look at the store. Don't want summer deals, new releases. This is to help inspire you. All games. Ladies and gentlemen, all games. Let's have a quick look. See what we've got here. A Place for the Unwilling. Place for the Unwilling. That could be one. I'm looking at all these indie ones here. Cosmic Star Heroine. I'm just saying indie games now. Too early for Disco Elysium. Dark. Yeah, Dark Side Detective was meant to be, but it missed the window for the Pro. So maybe they'll give it enough window to then bring it back. Because apparently, as I understand it, Darkside Detective missed its original window for it to be a Pro game. So whether they give it a bit of breathing space and then come back. Epistory. Just like I say, I'm looking at all these indie ones. Gods Will Fall got a bundle. I don't think necessarily it would be that. I mean, there's so much. Look at all these blooming games. It's crazy. Well, Stadia's got no games. Yeah, tell that to my finger on the bloody scroll button here on the mouse. Still going. Still going. Welcome to Elk. So there's just a handful of indie games, ladies and gentlemen. A handful of indie games that might find its way. Yeah, so somebody's in Dreamland there. Hello, Sco, in Dreamland there. Dave loves Darkside Detective and the second one. Yeah, so I reckon that could be because one of them was meant to be a Pro game. So, yeah, we'll see, ladies and we'll see. But there you go. I mean, that's a beauty. We've had a hell of a week. You know, Stadia activity this week. We've got Rainbow Six Siege coming out on Wednesday. We've got the July Pro games being announced tomorrow and coming out on Thursday. It's crazy. There was an interesting article in Chrome Unboxed where the guy goes, I gave up Stadia Pro and now I'm playing Stadia more than ever. And it was an interesting article because it basically saying it feels he can relax and spend all the time. Say, for instance, you know, I'm really enjoying Red Dead Redemption 2. And it's so easy. Like I start getting into a big game and then which might take you a month or so to complete, if not longer. And then you get distracted by the Pro games and then you delve into those. And then I don't go back to, you know, those big games. So it was just an interesting take. It was just an opinion and a view and a take how by giving up Stadia Pro, he's actually spending more time playing Stadia because he can just dive and get lost, lose himself in one particular big game. And you look at all the Far Cries or the Assassin's Creed games or the Lara Croft games. These are long, big games. Definitely. Always nice to get a AAA drop. That's the thing is we all speculate, you know, like if Control dropped tomorrow, we'd all be going, oh, that's brilliant. But there'd be a tinge of disappointment because we sort of thought it might, which is what's wrong a lot of time with the, you know, Stadia community sometimes. It's just like, be grateful, you know, just because you know about it or you've heard a rumor because you watch shows like this or you know constantly on Twitter and you're seeing there's plenty of people of which this is, you know, Google will release a blog post and a week later, you know, somebody will say, oh, this game's available, and you see on Twitter or some random person going, really, I didn't know that. And it's like a genuine pleasant surprise to them. So, you know, if you wake up, if you don't watch this show, what's wrong with you? No, if you don't watch any of the Stadia content stuff and you don't follow Stadia on Twitter or you don't get bogged down in the Reddit weeds and all that kind of stuff, and you just wake up on Thursday, check out what the Stadia Pro games are, it's like Christmas Day. Like it's like a pleasant surprise. And that's the best way to be, really. And stop sort of taking everything for granted. That's my advice. Life will feel so much better that way. Game subscriptions are intimidating to me. There's too many games. Exactly. You know, I have to be sort of really concentrated. And I mean, there's so much to do in Red Dead Redemption 2. I could quite easily, and I used to, back in the day when, before they launched Games Pass, And they had obviously Xbox Live Gold, and every month they'd bring out maybe 5 games, maybe one of which might interest me. And because I'm a, tightwad, I don't like buying games. I do now on Stadia, but I never did then. I might play the odd Gold Live game that was available on Xbox out of curiosity. But other than that, I just absolutely hammered my key game, which at the time would either be Minecraft, and then when that novelty wore off, I got sucked into Overwatch and didn't play anything else. And then they launched Game Pass, and I bought Game Pass just for Sea of Thieves. And for a year, that's virtually all I played. Bit of PUBG, but generally Sea of Thieves, just hammered it. Nothing else really interested me. Whereas now, Stadia's really kind of sucked me in even bigger into gaming. I mean, Xbox did, but Stadia has now. And now I spend more money on games than I've ever spent. And it's because of Stadia. I never used to spend spend that money on when I had the Xbox. But for some reason I do with Stadia. Maybe it's because I want to support it. I don't know. Lots of different things. But there you go. Hey, Michael, how are you, sir? Good to see you. That's the other thing as well. Yeah. I guess maybe that's part of the it's a good problem. Part of the issue is there isn't a storage issue. And curiosity is satisfied instantly. Oh, I fancy playing that game. Buy, play it. Not like when my son comes down to me and says, oh, Dad, can I get Call of Duty, the campaign? Oh, how much is it? 30 quid. All right. 3 hours later, it's downloaded and you might play it. The novelty's worn off slightly. Whereas if the situation was on Stadia, it'd like, yeah, sure, play, bang, boom, play it. Simple. No storage issue. And when we got Call of Duty, the campaign, the Xbox upstairs, we had to sort of sit down together and say, I said to him, well, what game are you going to get rid of? Because he had no space. Because it's like massive. It's like 120 gig or something. It's a 250 gig, if that, machine, the Xbox Series S or whatever. So we had to have a little discussion. Okay, what games don't you play? What should we get rid of? It's crazy. You're going to have about 6 games on there. Whereas with Stadia, yeah, people have got like 100 odd games. It is hard to cancel Pro. I mean, I can afford it. It's disposable income. That's the way I look at it. Yeah. If you say, oh, I'll go down the pub and spend 50 quid or whatever, 30 quid. I'll spend, 20 quid on fags or something like that. Cigarettes for my American friends, So 10 quid a month to indulge in my pleasure of playing games is affordable. It's disposable income. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that is disposable income to me, and I don't really notice it in the same way I don't notice my Netflix going out the door. I don't notice my Amazon Prime sub going out the door. Now my Ubisoft Plus going out the door. Now my Games Pass Ultimate going out the door. Wait a minute. When it all adds up, it's a hell of a lot of subscriptions. But it's all part of my sort of entertainment budget. It's all, you could spend it going to the cinema, or spend it on pizzas, watching football, or buying DVDs, or not buying DVDs, renting videos of streaming, all that kind of stuff. But that money to me gives me access to all that entertainment. So it's well worth it. And that's the way people are moving, having access to entertainment. And then the option to buy stuff. Because the thing about, I'll just quickly touch on it, but the thing about what makes the Stadia business model so good, which people don't get, is that you cannot bring day-on-day releases to a subscription service unless you've just spent $7 billion buying a major publisher, and then from that point going, right, every major AAA game you release, it's on subscription for game, Xbox, because we've just bought you for $7 billion. Yeah. Other than that, and the odd dropping of a big check now and then, generally on a subscription service, unless you invest in your own product, which costs a hell of a lot of money, you're not going to get AAA games day and date as part of that. Yeah. You need to spend $7 billion effectively. So people say, yeah, but Clive, they do on Xbox. Yeah. Because they spent $7 billion to get to that privilege of doing it. Yeah. If you haven't got $7 billion to spend, but you want to offer AAA games day and date on your platform, then make them available to buy, which is what Stadia does. Best of both worlds. I try to drop it, then pick it up when you can claim 2 months worth of games with one payment. Oh, it's all about getting the balance right. No, they know it. The subscription services know it. Once you sort of pay it and you forget it, don't you? Like I've suddenly looked on my accounts sometimes and thought, what? What's that subscription? So I don't remember paying for that. I had to stop my Just Dance subscription because it wasn't getting used for months, ironically. And then my daughter wanted to play Just Dance with her friend. So I had to buy the subscription again. And I bet you, if I don't actually, I'll make a note tonight, because if I don't remember, I'm going to be paying for that for the next 6 months. Was that Xbox Live on those OS cells MS does? Yeah. Well, I used to love the giveaways they used to do, but they weren't always, I don't know, the games weren't all that amazing. Occasionally you get an interesting one, but I used to take advantage of those interesting ones when they came. I mean, look, Games Pass is incredible in what they offer. And as consumers, you're getting a good deal. Absolutely. But make no mistake, that position has cost them billions to be in that position, to be able to offer the games that they do. And they've made that bet, that $7 billion bet buying Bethesda based on 20 years of building and establishing a major gaming brand, not after a year and a half. So, Microsoft and PlayStation are in unique positions in that way. They're so dominant in the gaming world that they can make those massive, massive bets. And absolutely, Xbox have made those massive bets. No question about it. Wow, that's a hell of a lot of install. 60 gigs. 8 terabytes. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, in that Xbox announcement with the upgrading of their servers to the Xbox Series X blades, so you can now play all those Xbox games in 1080p, 60 frames per second. So they've upgraded to the most powerful console in the world, and they're still only confident enough to be able to stream at 1080p, 60 frames per second. I mean, I think that's the right thing to do. Yeah. You better get it right than to offer a slightly dodgy service. But this has made me realize, and again, I need somebody more technical on this side, but I think the way Stadia achieves some of the quality that it does is, I think it, as I understand it, I think it renders the games at, say, 120 frames per second. So when people say, oh yeah, they had all this powerful computer, why don't we get 120 frames per second? I think the games are rendered at 120 frames per second. And then compressed and delivered to us at 60 frames per second. Or in the case of 30 frames per second games, they're rendered at 60 frames. So I reckon that they are really, the Stadia blades are rendering at an incredibly high rate, are doing 120 frames per second and all that. But when it's compressed, in order to give us buttery smooth potential, it's then the video feed comes in at 60 frames per second. And I think that may be the same with Xbox, the Xbox blades, Xbox Series X blades. They may well render the games at 120 frames per second in order for it to be able to compress the video and then deliver it at 60 frames per second for a smooth experience at 1080p. I don't know, but it's just a theory I have, and someone more technical could probably say, you're talking nonsense, Clive, but it is a theory I've had for a while that people moan, well, I thought, you know, what if these Stadia blades were so powerful? Why can't they deliver? Well, I think, you know, at such and such. Well, I think the Stadia blades are incredibly powerful. They have to be. They have to be almost twice as powerful in order to give you a 4K 60 frames per second experience, because they probably have to push it out, as I say, 120 frames per second. And I think that sort of might be lost. I might be completely wrong. It's just a theory I have, but there you go. 1080p though, exactly. Well, because they're not confident enough, you know, they're having to use a third party to stream the video, you know, to compress the video, stream it, then unpack it. This is not Xbox's own technology. And, you know, they obviously want to make sure, and they know, they're not stupid, they know the average person doesn't have a 4K PC. Stadia has to offer 4K because they know most, you know, because they're offering it on televisions. And most people have a 4K TV. So they want at least to have the option to be able to deliver it at 4K. But if you're delivering a cloud gaming service that's only being delivered to mobile phones, only being delivered to PCs, most people, the average gamer, not the hardcore gamer, not the 4K 120, not the Project Storm 8K 100 and 200 hertz screen, Mr. Project Storm, not that one. Your average gamer has a monitor that's 1080p. Yeah, maybe 1080p, 120 frames per second. So they made the right decision. Better to sort of go under potential than overstretch and deliver a poor experience. But I think it shows how far the streaming technology can go for Xbox. It's not about the blades. You know, people go on about, you know, they're going to install Xbox Series X blades. So, you know, but that doesn't mean your experience is going to be like playing on an Xbox Series X, because the video's got to be decompressed, could be compressed, sent down the line, unpacked, and then delivered to you, like at 60 frames per second. So it has the ability to render at a really high level, but then the compression in order to get it down the line is where the benchmark is. The, you know, that's what kind of, what's the bottleneck that throttles it. So for all the power of the Xbox Series X blades, the delivery tech can't match the output, is my theory. But there we go. Yeah, well, I know exactly. You need to be able to see, you need to see if the blade of grass slightly wavers from a nearby foot soldier, ready to pop, 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 blap, blap, blap. Exactly. Google have been streaming for years. They know it. It's their technology. But also, I'm explaining to my son. No, my son's friend came round. He didn't know what Stadia is, and he looked at my what looks like a shrine to Stadia here, if you could see it. And he said, "Why have you got all those controllers?" Oh no, I was explaining to my son, because that was it. I was explaining to my son because Alex Billy there, loving Division 2. I was explaining to my son, I was trying out, so I tried out xCloud on the PC. My first experience, xCloud on the PC, Destiny 2, a game I'm familiar with on all formats sort of thing, on Stadia, on the old Xbox. Oh my God, it was a horrible experience. Now, in fairness, It turned out my son was downloading an update to Fortnite or Call of Duty or whatever. So he was sucking up the house bandwidth. So that was part of why it was just unplayable. And that was partly why. So in fairness, I gave it another go when he wasn't playing on his Xbox or anything like that. I gave it another go. And it's noticeable, the lag. It was much better than it was earlier when I tried it, but it is noticeable on xCloud. And then I swapped to Stadia. Yeah, absolutely. The difference is noticeable. And fundamentally to me, I think the major difference... No, in fact, that's not quite right, because actually, for fairness, what I did, I tested it. I tested both Stadia and xCloud using an Xbox controller wired to the PC. So I know that my Stadia experience would be even better, if I used the Stadia controller. But to make it a level playing field, I used an Xbox controller wired to the PC. And there was a noticeable difference there. But, you know, there we go. Hold on, Colin. You need thinking about the people who have good bandwidth. I have very low bandwidth. In fairness, I have 50 megabits per second on average. So I'm meant to be able to get up to 70 megabits per second. Of course, I don't get 70 megabits, right? I get about 50 megabits per second, and it's a sort of a sweet spot. So it gives me 4K, all of that, looks brilliant, buttery smooth. But I can't play 2 instances of Stadia at the same time because I don't have enough capacity. If I had a gigabit or something like that, yes. But at 50 megabits per second, it gives me a perfect experience as long as my son doesn't decide to download Fortnite at the same time. He can play games. My daughter can be streaming, you know, TikTok and YouTube video upstairs. That's fine. Works fine. But if anybody starts downloading a major game, then that really cuts into the bandwidth. And, you know, Stadia is unplayable, all that kind of, it just goes all funny. And I know because I'll be playing away perfect, and then it will go a bit funny now and then, and I'll literally shout, I'll go, Oscar, are you download? Sorry, Dad. Yeah, sorry, I'll stop the download. Sorry. So, yeah. You know, 50 megabits per second to me is a sweet spot. But if too many people, you know, using stuff, you know, doing heavy usage, downloading, then yeah, it is a problem. But 50 megabits per second is not that much. Not that much at all. And it's the average speed is only going to improve, even in the US, where they have a messed up system in terms of, you know, the US, the home of, you know, free economics and competition. And yet somehow that free economics and competition absolutely stifles your broadband. You look at Europe, completely different kettle of fish. We don't have caps. It's like unheard of. It's ridiculous. Crazy. But it will adapt. Kenny, how are you? Nathan's looking for a full-time employer. Do the lottery. Don't know. Yeah, that's the thing that we're here. You know, Xbox have the 20 years experience and wealth behind them and brand building. Daryl Smock Jr., thank you for the subscription. Yeah. And they know cloud gaming is the future. I've said it earlier. I said it today's show. I've said it a million times. Anybody who says, oh, cloud gaming is not a thing, just tell them, go and check out Xbox ambitions and, well, they're not their ambitions, their strategy, right? You have to, as Doc Dark said, you have to listen to them. You have to listen to what Microsoft is doing. They're such a big player in the gaming industry. So if they're all in on it, it's a thing, all right? So get over it. It's a thing. And the technology is only going to get better. Households are only going to improve in terms of broadband. 5G is only going to become more widely spread. We're going to get 6G in houses, Wi-Fi 6 in houses, all these things. But you need to have it built, ready, have your supercar built, ready for when the roads can handle it. And that's what Stadia and Luna and everybody's doing, and Xbox is doing as well, trying to do. So anyway, there we are. I've warbled on enough, ladies and gentlemen. I've warbled on. There's a good point here. But as I understand it, in Mexico and Brazil, Alberto, maybe you can correct me here, there's significant 5G infrastructure going in place. I'm sure I heard the head of it was on Eddie's show a long time ago, the head of Republic of Gamers mobile division in Brazil talking about the appetite. Yeah, so the Indian government have invested heavily in 5G. That's why it's such a massive thing, and everybody in India, because they can't afford necessarily, the average Indian can't afford a PC, but they do all their PC work, all their sort of everyday activity via their phone. That's why PUBG, until it was banned, had 50 million players. PUBG Mobile had 50 million players in India, as I said a million times. So that we know the technology generally is only going to improve. The telecommunications technology is just going to improve. But like I've said before, it's no good waiting for technology to be ready, because then you'll be too late. So you have to build it. You have to build it. India do have good mobile internet, as I understand it, because they made a decision to go that route. You could question whether it's nowadays would be better to have 5G on every lamppost that every house could access, rather than digging up the roads to put in broadband. Don't know. 5G will change a lot. That's what I'm saying. No good waiting for the technology to catch up. When you know the technology is going up here, you got to start building here, or about here, ready for when that technology catches you up and you're ready to take advantage of it. And that's what all the cloud gaming people are doing. Let's hope so. I think the PWA app was the Stadia app, so the progressive web app of Stadia was certainly could be for that, but certainly to unify it. Yeah. And it's easier then to employ across different platforms and systems. I think that's what it is. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. Thank you once again. I've warbled on loads there. I hope you enjoyed the show today. Very exciting. I'm sorry the Stadia Pro poll didn't work, but make sure you catch Rock's show tomorrow, where he sits there waiting anxiously for the Stadia blog post to be published. I'm sure it will tomorrow, Rock. I'm sure it'll be published tomorrow on time, because it's the new... oh, look. Why's that down there? Studio chat. Alert. Thank you for that. Thank you for Dom Scripps. Much appreciated. Anyway, I'm off now, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy the pro games. Fingers crossed they're what you want. Fingers crossed Father Stadia, Santa Stadia, Stadia Claus brings you the games for your monthly Christmas Stadia day that you want to play. Have a lovely, lovely week, and I'll see you around very soon. Come on, England. Goodbye.